Yes, so this episode of Diving with Don, I had an interesting day on the 10th of February. Yesterday, in fact. And so we were taking a boat charter out to check out a few dive sites. And there's some of the gang, the intrepid divers. It was a cold, wet, and windy day. Yeah, I'd like to say it was this here, what you're seeing, but it wasn't. So we got to the dive site, got in, checking out a bit of the scenery, some sea urchins, some nice terrain on the bottom. And we got buzzed by a couple of sea lions. Didn't think too much of it, because that's the time of year. Yeah, beautiful. But then, check it out. There was more than one or two. In fact, there was, I lost count, had to be dozens of sea lions. And they were all over us. It was like they hadn't seen divers before. So what are these things? And we got chewed on a bit. We all became a sea lion chew toy. They would chew on our arms and our legs. I got a couple butt cheek chomps. Once or twice it actually hurt. But for the most part, they were just checking us out. That's maybe what sea lions do. They like to bite on things, see what they are. And so we just stayed along for the ride. You can see us, we're just chilling with the sea lions. It was quite the adventure. Yes, and there's those sea urchins we came to see, but more sea lions. And you can see how they come in waves. And then you say, okay, what is this? And then, I was in the middle of the sea lion pile here. They're all around me, above me, below me, knocking me around a bit. But for the most part, not scary. Just, I was getting nipped and almost like a sea lion massage. And they kept tugging on my fins. Oh, that's Blair. Blair was my dive buddy for the day. So we got to hang out together, compare notes. Well, we compared notes with everyone, but it was a lot of fun. Sea lions were chewing on fins. I have chomp marks on my fins for sure after this dive, but their fins are tough. There's one, he's checking out the camera. Oh, there's Joe. Interesting story for you. He's hanging onto his mask there. Well, that was almost like foreshadowing because later on in the dive, and a sea lion took his mask. So suddenly he had no mask and he aborted the dive. But the cool thing is he saw his camera there, his GoPro, and he got a selfie of the sea lion taking his mask, and the look on his face when it disappeared. It's priceless. There was a total of 7 of us divers there, having a good time with the sea lions. So it was definitely an interesting day. I learned an interesting trick too. If you feel like the sea lions are a little too close or paying too much attention to you, grab a couple rocks and tap them together. That actually, I don't know if that's a sound that they fear or what it does, but they scatter. So a couple times I felt I was getting a little overwhelmed. I tapped rocks together, and the sea lions disappeared. But in the in-between times, there's one chewing on a fin there. Having a good chew. Arr. There's Blair. I'm going in, he says. I'm going to go check out the sea lion pile. It was really quite the adventure. I think once was enough, though, for me. Because even though it was interesting how I say they were gentle, they were a bit aggressive. They were definitely chewing on us. Well, this is their territory, right? So, yeah. There had to be dozens of sea lions. And they would come and go in waves. This is definitely a different experience than the last time I had sea lions. When you saw there was we had the new dive buddy, Sea Linia. There was no Sea Linia here. I think this is a different group, a different crew of sea lionesses. In fact, most of these, if not all of them, are or were females. Very inquisitive. What's going on? Hello there. Oh. Sea lion pile. Is that like a dog pile with sea lions? I bet it is. And yeah. It was an interesting day. So now, the wind had picked up, so we're on our way to the next dive site. You can see the waves. Yeah, hard divers are hardy or crazy. I don't know which. So we changed it up. The second dive was on a 75-foot tugboat that had sank on its own. Wasn't one of those wrecks that were sunk for preservation. It was just there's a story behind it, I'm sure. Something about a stolen toilet or something. Anyway, it sunk 8 years ago, and here's the life you get to see on it now. The whole gang of us with our dive lights this time, checking it out. It was quite an enjoyable dive, but it was a bit deep. The tug is resting in about 100 feet of water at the tides we were on. So it was a shorter dive, definitely. But again, we're all experienced divers. This is not a problem. We closely followed our computers, tracked our gauges, and made sure we didn't get anywhere near having to enter a decompression and a decompression stop. So this is a no decompression dive, nevertheless. So you can see how much the anemones and other life are growing. So there's a still of the propeller, which is still there, bronze apparently it's made out of. This is an old tug that has a style of motor on it that doesn't even have a valve cover. Our guide told us what kind it was. But it's so old that when you're running the motor, you have to oil it continually by putting drops of oil on the top, on the head. And this is a tarp of some sort. BCFS. I wonder what that stands for. BC Fisheries Service? No, I don't know. Fire Service? Anyway, it was an interesting dive. Some critters. At the end of the dive, we ascended the line and did our 3-minute safety stop, and that was it. Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed this interesting day of diving with Don. As I say, it was a bit of an adventure. Sea lions were something else to see, and it was nice to wind down with this nice, gentle dive, no waves, on this older wreck. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.